Using your graphing calculator to graph linear inequalities requires just a couple of extra keystrokes in order to do the graphing that we'd like. Here we are in the y equals window, and you'll notice that we do not have the option to change the equal to anything else other than equal to. Simply pressing enter on the equal to button will turn the graph on or off. It will not allow us to graph it as an inequality. Where you need to make that change is actually way over here on the left. So arrowing over to the left of y1 is where you're going to make the necessary changes in order to graph an inequality. But before we do that, let's look at our two lines. So here we have the two lines that we wrote in our y equals half x minus 3 and 2x plus 3. Here's the half x minus 3 and here's the 2x plus 3, obviously with the steeper slope and the intercept of 3. And for the purposes of this exercise, we're going to say that we want to go above the blue line and below the red line. So we're going to go greater than on the blue line and less than on the red line. Now, an unfortunate reality of the calculator is you have to tell it exactly where you'd like to shade. So if we arrow over to that option that's to the left of y1 and we press enter, obviously we can change the color if we're interested in changing the color, but for the purposes of this exercise, I'm going to leave it as blue. What you want to do is go down to line. And in line, you have all of the different options for graphing the actual function. You can leave it as a line. There's also a narrower line if you don't want it to be as thick. But if you continue to arrow through the options, you're going to see a dotted line, a little bit of a bigger dotted line. And obviously, we're going to want to arrow through until we see the shading. Now, we did say that we wanted to go above our blue line. Notice that the shading option is just a below option. It doesn't say greater than or less than. So we're going to choose the above for the blue line, arrow down to OK and press enter, and then we're going to pick the below for the red line. So you need to be confident enough in knowing what you're graphing in order to tell the calculator specifically where you'd like to see that shading. We're going to change red to a shading below, and we're going to press graph. And now we have our double shaded region. We have this space in here where solutions are allowed. Now, one of the downfalls of the calculator is that it does not easily mix together greater thans and greater than or equal tos, less than or less than or equal tos. At no point did we tell it if those boundary lines were supposed to be solid or not. You might be thinking to yourself, well, if I go back into here, into these options for graphing, I can change it to a dotted line. But as soon as you change it to a dotted line, you lose the option to have the graphing with it. So there's some limitations to using the calculator, but in terms of getting that information out quickly, it can give you a rough idea of where your intersection region is going to be.